deliberation, the formal council is supposed to be a smooth thing, right? Um, but you do see this point of deliberation in the formal process, and you do see this coming together of the men and women, but you see this coming together after autonomous processes. And even in those autonomous processes, there's communication in between. But then when they come together, it seems like this opening up of capacities for authentic, not just authentic dialogue, but uh, streamlining of coming together in positions, both male and female. And again, when it comes to decision makings on a nation scale, decision making, um, I think this was what lends itself to a tremendous amount of balance and a capacity to evolve safely when need be. But yeah, I'll shut up now. But this was all very, very, very exciting to Desiree and myself over the weekend, learning this from Edith. In a way, only Edith can say it as well. It was very eloquent. We all said it. We wish you had it recorded by the end of the meeting. But yeah, let me know if any of that made sense to y'all.
Yeah. No, you go.
No, I was just, yeah, it made sense. And I sketched out a little compass of where people are sitting in relation to, north, south, east, and west. And interesting on the men can't make the first move. And then, but I missed something on the autonomous process. I think so. I think you were saying, and I think that this is where I missed it, is that there's an autonomous process where women are discussing or what have you, and then they come together with men. Is that correct, or did I miss that?
You're 100% correct, and this is what I was really excited to learn from Edith, right? Which was we learned from the Longhouse about how important the in between is constantly, right? The Degani de Ahada, right? The 2 wampum, the wampum belt with the 2 rows on it, right? It's about dialogue between opposing viewpoints and consensus and coming together, right? Despite what we imagine divides us and all of this, right? And this is what allowed, it's a direct extrapolation from their cosmology, the Guyana Asada Skanagor, the Great Law of Peace, but it's also what allowed them to organize peacefully confederated in autonomous nations for millennia before colonization even. And then it's what was extended to, settler colonists as they came in, as a means to get that in between figured out. And often, right, we'll see you may have seen this, Juliet, but the Longhouse will twist that wampum belt, and those rows start to look like strands of DNA. And then we'll also see this motif in the language of the Longhouse talking about how it's that in between, right? That enzyme, whatever, right? Taking specks of nothingness from nothingness, placing them where they need be, ensuring they're where they need be, or if it's not where it need be, it removes it and throws it up into oblivion, right? It's very primordial process, obviously, but it's that in between, right, that brings those 2 strands together and gives us something, right? Talks about the in-between of the cycles and how important this is, right? This in-between time. And the preliminaries are very much seen as this in the language of the Longhouse. The in-between of the time where an issue is lodged in the well to be disseminated out to the various clans. In this bottom-up horizontal process of accessibility to your voice being heard. But then there's the preliminary meetings between the clans, male clans and female clans, before the formal process where both the male and female clans come together, right? And so it's the preliminary phase that is the in-between time where most of the consensus happens, right? This is the streamlining part, right? Where by the time you get to the formal meeting, right? All of the positions have been come to pretty much, and 9 times out of 10, there's not going to be any, you know, extra long deliberation about any particular issue. Has already pretty much been figured out in the prelims. And there's this communication between these autonomous processes of the women and the men through the male and female representatives reporting on what's going on in the prelims throughout the moon or throughout the month cycle, right? And then, so this is what was remarkable to me, because the streamlining of bottom-up voices was apparent in some of that preliminary meeting stuff, throughout our learnings of this, but then not recognizing, right, that the women and men have been in autonomous processes this entire time of decision making. Then they come together, and it maximizes the capacities to come to consensus on the positions, while maintaining autonomous processes, ensuring that in the long term, women's voices aren't being drowned out. And then, the turtles, right? And this is the link between, beyond just the human realm. The turtles are validating everything against this matrilineal heritage that goes all the way up to the stars and talks about regeneration through the ecosystems and solar systems, right? And so, yeah, even autonomy of our matrilineal heritage, extended to our non-human brothers and sisters, is wrapped into that detail of that process of the women walking over to the men. And again, more streamlining, it seems, when it comes to the capacities to come together on a position and thinking about the physics of how this can come to be, right? Because all of this is extrapolated from the layout and the position of where people are sitting to the flow of the prelims. All of this is extrapolated right from their cosmology, right? And so in the Guyana Rasa Skanagoa, the Great Law of Peace, oral documentation creation story, very much laws of physics, right? And so you have these laws of interdisciplinary physics, biochemistry, whatever you could imagine, extrapolated into social organization. And so hopefully that capacities for regenerative sustainability to comprehend or understand positions from scarcity or extraction, right? But not vice versa. Hopefully that makes sense, in terms of the autonomy of matrilineal heritage and the sequencing of who walks over to who, in terms of how the consensus is achieved, right? Beyond just the physical, somebody walking over to somebody, it's an indicator of where the balance comes from when trying to come to a position, when validating what's being deliberated between the wolves and the bears. And I think the fact that this is turtles, that's part of this intricate connection, this mechanism, this functional mechanism, is a huge piece of it all, right? It's the turtles. But yeah, I'll shut up.
Yeah, that helped explain. I love the concept of the in-between time, or in-between time. I broke it down to just a IBT, just a symbolic, so I could take notes. But so there's a lot of symbolism there and a lot of connection to cosmology, and also the relationships between humans and non-humans. So the plant world, the animal world, and all parts, rocks, everything on the planet. So yeah, and this, I can relate to this from the perspective of a lot of study on different cosmologies. And so this is exciting, really. And I'm trying to think about, I don't know. To me, it's very understandable. But I hope we can break it down for others. But regardless, I'm really excited about this. And I think that's all I have to say right now. And I wish I was at that meeting.
No, it was beautiful. We wish you had it recorded as well. Look who I got with me.
Hey, Juliet.
Hi. Hi.
Good to hear you. Who else is there?
Hi.
Look, that's my twin. Look. And this is the best thing that happened to us right here.
Aw. Aw.
She's so cute.
So beautiful.
She's low energy right now. You got her at a good
I
time.
bet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She's gonna be like, he's moving me. I know. We're gonna walk around.
But yeah, I think I'll be trying to wrap up soon so I can have my baby time. but no, I'm glad you guys got to hear that. I'm really excited to say that to other people since that meeting. Like you said, Julia, it was really. I mean, I remember I had some very visceral reaction to just hearing that information come. Because Edith says it far more eloquently, relating experiences of our own, right, to where to these understandings throughout years, right, which they're not my experiences, but with her retelling of it and spelling it out, right? Because when Edith is first telling me about the women walking across to the men instead of the men walking across to the women in terms of turtles, it goes over my head, right? And I've been thinking about this for years now. But then she continued to spell it out through her different experiences, through relating those experiences to the understandings, and then dialogue between us, Desiree as well during the session really started to illuminate things for all of us at the same time. I remember having a physical response to, emotional response to some of these realizations from Edith. It seems very much like the intricate details of matrilineal heritage and the autonomy of matrilineal heritage, functional autonomy. Akbar, I hope I'm saying your name right. Welcome. I think we're, kind of coming towards the latter half, at least, of a meeting here around indigenous modes of organization and governance. There's some diagrams, some very rough diagrams from the Indigenous Council that we're working with, describing council processes that I think there would be a recording of if you're interested. But welcome. You feel free to introduce yourself, interrupt us, and hopefully we'll get a little bit better of a debriefing for you just in some of our continued dialogue with each other. But thank you kindly, Juliet, for making me feel like it wasn't as convoluted as maybe it was. But I can tell you understood. So it's a beautiful thing to communicate this to you pretty much as soon as we come into knowledge about it. Particularly because you've been very excited about all of these potentials of the consensus flows, but also your very recent vocalization of passions around women's voices in this space. This is it's an honor to communicate this from Longhouse to you guys in a lot of ways, because like I said, it felt really, really powerful when we heard it. But Hero, let me know if any of this resonates with you as well, of course.
Yeah, just want to say Akva is my buddy from the community, really. So feel free to say hi.
Yes, welcome, Akva.
I think he's actually seen some of the videos, he told me.
Wow, that's
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I just saw Hero activity on Discord, and I say, why not? Let's jump in and say hi. I still need to introduce myself, but I'm very, very busy in real life, so I didn't introduce myself yet in the Advocates DAO, but I hope to do it soon. But I'm really, really busy at the moment, and I want to do a good presentation of myself about what I've been doing in the space for like 6 months since I joined Stacks. So I'm taking my time because I want to write something something good, let's say. I don't want to just write something in 5 minutes. I really want to introduce myself and let you guys know who I am. But I said to myself, well, why not joining this call now and maybe have a little conversation? Thank you.
No, thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. It's a pleasure to meet you guys, and met a few different folks that followed into these sessions, just like you did, kind of just jumping in, and you started to develop some pretty good relationships with folk. So we want to keep this as open and as horizontal as possible, right? Feel free um, to feel like you have access to us in these sessions or in our DMs or what have you. But yeah, and if Hero is right about you watching some videos, that's we give you the ultimate gratitude for that, or we try to, because those can get pretty lengthy and pretty dense in a lot of ways. But if folks are digesting them, it can go a long way to catching folks up to what we've been discussing in these dialogues and these we call sense making sessions or consensus sessions. So thank you kindly, Mike, for jumping in here. Yeah, and thank you kindly, Hero, for making the connection. But yeah,
So good.
Yeah. Time to go, I guess, Harold. Thank you. You got some stuff to do. I'm playing writer right now. I'm telling you, it's the time, end of time right now.
Yeah, it's baby time for sure. It's impossible to resist too. But yeah, Hira, I do want to get your voice.
I think about the council part for the what you just said, I think is very interesting. I I can't say I fully understand it because I'm not as cosmic as I don't understand that side of things. But when Julia said how she can relate to it, she said because she has some knowledge of cosmology, and I said to you probably before already that the way I relate to some of these concepts is because some of the things I learned about health, about how the current world system actually the best thing is just go back to nature. So I'm trying to understand it from that angle. A lot of things that is too industrialized, and actually there's a trend going back to um, ancient wisdom. Like I said, um, how they perceive science can actually have real value. So that's how I'm relating to some of the stuff you're talking about. So yeah, I think they are definitely very cool, um, and I definitely very valuable things that you said today. And I think I'm just very keen to understand how that works and how that can be actually implemented into this group and more. And also from a bridging perspective, like Julia said, that maybe Julia can understand, I can somewhat understand, but maybe like some other folks who need some bridging work, and I'm very very keen to understand it first fully myself and be able to um, help that communication to the new folks. Uh, yeah, I think that's what's in my head, and um, Yeah, and I was also like thinking about, okay, so what type of discussions is suitable for this council process? You said sitting in a circle, have female and male. Is it to do with uh, like where to go grocery shopping, or is it to do with like bigger stuff like governance stuff? So I'm keen to understand the scenarios that this process are built for.
No, it's definitely major decision making, right? What might be deemed governance, right, from our conventional language, might be deemed matrilineal management from, more of the indigenous lens. But it's definitely, this is official processes of nation, at the nation scale even, right? And so, this is a good way of thinking about it, especially, when you have the coming together of all of these clans, both male and female. These are issues usually that, they get to the floor. It's because these are issues that apply to everybody involved, right? Or at least enough impact on enough people, right? That it should be discussed in consensus with everybody there, as many people there as possible. The smaller issues, right, like grocery store stuff, right, or the day-to-day stuff, I'd imagine, those issues still come up, but maybe they get resolved either in prelim process, or they get resolved before even getting to official clan business in the prelim process. But yeah, and it's an important question too, Hero, right? Because what it's on the Wolf Clan representatives, essentially, what gets picked up and brought to the floor, right? Is this something that is floor worthy, for example? And also, it's an important question, just in the sense of I don't know how to say this, I guess. Points of law, right? Anything that comes across this particular council floor is going to be, validated against this oral constitution. These laws of physics, in a lot of ways, interdisciplined understandings, science and engineering, right, from an indigenous lens. And so, the more personal stuff, right? Personal business, unless it applies in some roundabout way, is not the type of, this is not the what's being discussed on official council floor, right, or official council business. This is nation administration, right, of the clan mothers, right, in its indigenous context. So, thank you kindly for the question, for clarifying that. Yeah, but
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. But I hope some of the cosmic stuff made sense too, right? Or some of the more the extrapolations of physics, right? That or a myriad of other types of sciences or disciplines that are wrapped into these protocols, right? Particularly this notion of balance comes from where there's more, right? Matrilineal authority, not meaning unchecked matriarchal concentration of power or wealth, right? But matrilineal heritage, acknowledgement, right? And consensus, right? Nothing is out of consensus or unchecked power, right? In this indigenous context, it's always within that context. So, but it's a means of establishing long-term sustainability through this notion of matrilineal heritage and authority in that sense. Authority in the sense that of the sequencing, primary and secondary, one can encapsulate the other and one can't. Right? It's math, it's physics. And so this is something that really, really started to come across in the details of the only clan that's not sitting next to each other are the turtles. Yeah. But thank you kindly for enduring me, y'all. I hope this was as enlightening for y'all as it was for myself. It's probably the deepest into the council protocols that we've been over the years. So it's been really, really inspiring, re-energizing, motivating in a lot of ways. I'm very, very grateful to be able to share it with y'all.
Thanks for sharing. It's pretty cool.
But yeah, I got a chorus of dogs behind me now. So thank you for your time, y'all. I'll let you guys have the beautiful rest of your day, and I'll get to this baby.
Bye, Harold.
All right, y'all. Bye. Thank you, Hero. Thank you, Akbar. Welcome, and feel free to watch the recording or catch us. Throughout the week, we might be coming back together. Haas has been in beast mode in terms of tooling, and we really can't stay away from catching up with each other in these recent weeks. So we may see you soon as well, hopefully.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm assigning Haas to Akva for the buddy thing. So
Beautiful.
Yeah,
folks got some good buddies coming in. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
See y'all soon.
Thank you. Bye.